Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube and Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channels. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you who are enjoying what we're doing here on Pro Wrestling Logic. This is the AEW review for the 6th of October 2021, the 2-year anniversary show. We open with the Super Elite, Kenny Omega, Adam Cole, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, defeating Bryan Danielson, Christian Cage, and Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus. I'm not a fan of this. It's a spot fest completely, and if you like spot fest, then you're going to love this. I hate it, and I hate multi-person matches because it doesn't do anything. All it does is fill TV time just for the sake of filling TV time. At the end of the day, you can say, hey, I saw a match that was fun, but you can do that at an indie show, you can do that at a backyard show. In the end, there's nothing there that has long-term impact. So, Jungle Boy and Nick have an exchange to start things off. Back and forth, lots of spots. Cole tags in, but is chopped in the corner by Jungle Boy. Christian makes a quick tag out and comes back to Jungle Boy and re-enters with a drop-down right hand. Then goes for a kill switch, but opts to hit a reverse DDT. Follows that up with a flapjack on Matt Jackson. An attack from Nick on the apron allows the Elite to get some advantage isolating Jungle Boy and bringing in the champion, Kenny Omega. Young Bucks go for double team on Jungle Boy, but they fight them both off with his backflip arm drag. Danielson comes in and lands yes kicks on Matt, and then tags in Luchasaurus, who flattens Matt with a huge chop. Matt is isolated in the ring for a while, and then attacks on all four babyfaces, and double teams from Jurassic Express get a near fall. With the official distracted, Michael Nakazawa and Brandon Cutler attack Christian on the outside. Why are either one of these people employed, and why are they on national television in this role? Anyway, the Young Bucks used the interference to hit Nitty Taker on the ramp. Hate the move, hate the name, and it doesn't add to anything. Officials check on Christian on the ramp as the match moves forward in a 4-on-3 handicap-style match. Super Elite beat down Jungle Boy with a bunch of tags. Jungle Boy fights back with a brainbuster and comeback lariat, and he's about to reach a hot tag, but then Nakazawa gets involved again. Jungle Boy finally fights out of both and gets to the Bucks with a double DDT, and Danielson gets the hot tag. At least they're hot tagging the right person. Danielson and Omega tag in. They square off in the center of the ring, trading forearms and some shots. Danielson takes control, hits a running clothesline in the corner dropkick. He lands yes kicks and nails on Omega on the top rope, hitting a top rope Rana. Danielson then lands the diving headbutt, but the Bucks break up the pin, and Luchasaurus takes out both Bucks. We then get a bunch of big moves, concluding with Danielson hitting a Tiger Suplex bridge for near fall. He then locks on counter mutilation. Nick breaks it up with a senton bomb. Luchasaurus manhandles the Super Elite and fights him off until he gets a super kick from Cole. Luchasaurus connects with the Panama Sunrise, or gets connected with the Panama Sunrise and chokeslams Cole onto Omega. He then hits a tail whip on Nick and a roundhouse kick on Matt and a moonsault on Cole. So basically, he's cleaning house and bunches of spots. Cole fades into a dive and calls Adam Cole baby and turns around into a chokeslam and moonsault from Luchasaurus for a near fall. Jurassic Express waited for their finisher, and then the distraction allows Super Elite to land low blows on Luchasaurus. They botched some kind of powerbomb maneuver, and then Jungle Boy gets involved and gets nailed with a Snapdragon suplex and a Panama Sunrise. Danielson comes in, breaks up the pin. Danielson fights off everyone, and he's the last man standing with the baby faces. He lays in yes kicks Omega catches the buzzsaw, and Danielson nails super kick. Super Elite hits a 4-way BT trigger on Jungle Boy for the win. This is complete chaos. People are going to say it's a good match. And if you like spots and if you like video games, this is great. It does nothing to further storylines in the long run. John Moxley's backstage. He says he's lost patience for anything that takes patience. And then he says he's the number one man in AEW. And there's no man in AEW that can pin or submit him, so now he has to try a ladder match. He says he has a 3-month-old at home, and she's insane. AEW is his company, and that's his belt. So, then we go into a CM Punk promo. The chants for him are pretty impressive. Punk starts out thanking the fans. He lived in Philadelphia for 3 years. While he was here, he ate... breathed and slept pro wrestling. Philly gave him so much because of the money he made. He bought an iPad and a computer, but he wasn't rich because of the money. He was spiritually rich, immersing himself in the community. He gave the crowd a choice. Should he wrestle for them tonight or buy everyone cheesesteaks? They, of course, wanted to see him wrestle. I'm sorry. I enjoy Punk, but I would have taken the free food. Punk calls out Daniel Garcia for this week's Rampage. Anderson talked about splitting from Cody Rhodes. He says he started fire in Cody's backyard, dumping soot on it, and Cody came down to confront him. Arn demanded that Cody give him his tie. Cody didn't want him to throw it away, so Anderson slapped Cody and threw the tie in his face himself. I don't understand this angle, and it kind of seems like a go nowhere sort of thing. Anyway, video package introduces Bobby Fish to AEW. He's shown training MMA cage and said Sammy Guevara would be the shortest reigning TNT champion in history. Guevara is shown giving a new truck to Fuego del Sol. Sol wishes him luck, and Guevara said he'd beat Fish right now. Sammy Guevara defeats Bobby Fish. Decent match. Match is a little shorter than average. They trade bunches of strikes right away. Fish then goes for a high roundhouse kick, and that looks to be the finish, but Guevara grabs the ropes. As a counter, Guevara hits a drop kick and a gamaguri. Fish then cuts off a springboard attempt, sends Guevara crashing to the mat. They establish Fish's strikes ahead of the commercial. Fish goes for slingshot senton, but Guevara counters, gets his knees up, and takes Fish down with a back elbow and a clothesline. Fish counters with another springboard, but met with a jumping knee. Fish then hits a high kick and a backdrop driver for a 2 count. Standing Spanish fly brings Guevara a moment of rest. Guevara then climbs the ropes and looks down 630, but Fish pops up and kicks Guevara down. Fish lands an avalanche falcon arrow, near fall, and then he hits a corner exploder for another near fall. Guevara avoids a buzzsaw kick and hits the GTH out of nowhere for the win. Decent enough little match. I'm not necessarily sure that Sammy Guevara should be beating a guy like Bobby Fish unless this is a one-off deal. Also, I would rather see a guy like Fish with actual wrestling capability over a guy who does high-flying uselessness as a champion in the company. Anyway, so then once the bell rings, the American top team surrounds Guevara. Paige Van Dant distracts Guevara, allowing Scorpio Sky to land cheap shots, and Junior Dos Santos lays in ground and pound. Fuego del Sol runs out, but is immediately taken down and beaten down. Jericho's music plays, and he runs out with Jake Hager. Jericho says Dos Santos packing, and then he's left standing in the ring. The fans sing Jericho's song. Lambert basically yells at them to stop. Lambert says Masvidal is king of Miami, which is where AEW is headed next week. He wants a match, Inner Circle versus Man of the Year and Junior Dos Santos. Jericho said he'd beat the dog ding out of them. I don't like this story. I understand it. I like the MMA infusion. I don't like that Jericho's the one behind it. But when you have Hager paired with him, I understand why that's a thing. The Acclaimed are backstage. Castro raps about Lucha Brothers. They have a tag team title match on Friday on Rampage. Would love to see Acclaimed win the championships. I know it's not happening, but would still love to see it anyway. Shivani's in the ring with Aubrey Edwards. They reveal a TBS championship, which is a TNT championship equivalent for the women's division. The winner will be crowned in the tournament. Aubrey unveils the belt, and it looks pretty good. Darby Allin sits down with Jim Ross. Jim Ross is uncomfortable with what happened last week between Allin and MJF. Allin wanted to elaborate on why he paints his face. MJF talked about his experience with his uncle and referenced it last week. He paints his face because 50% of him feels dead inside. His respect and trust for people is low. Allin faced death that day, but he's still here. MJF can say whatever he wants, but Allen's going to win the war. He's never met somebody like Darby Allin. This is a really decent promo. Not a fan of the matchup next, but it's a waste of Darby Allin's talents, not because Darby Allin was in it. Allin, with Sting, defeats Nick Canamaro with Aaron Solo. Why? Why have a guy who's a former TNT champion against a guy who doesn't even belong in the company, or if he does, he belongs on the YouTube shows? Allin lands a dive on Canamaro and Solo right away. He hits a coffin drop and goes for the up and over stunner. Canamaro turns it into a power slam ahead of the break. Allin flips out of a suplex and hits the stunner. Lands a coffin drop to Canamaro's back for the win. Match really doesn't matter. After the match, QT Marshall hits a diamond cutter on Sting. Sting pops up and kicks QT low and hits the Scorpion Death Drop. So no selling moves are a thing now. Anyway, Dark Order's backstage. Evil Uno admits that he's made some mistakes and that he said it was up to everyone else to make decisions. Alec Reynolds suggested they all vote on things. They start fighting about stuff again. Anna Jay gets them all on the same page. Dante Martin's in the ring with Shivani. He said the last couple of months have been a problem for AEW. He issues a challenge to the locker room saying he'd fight anyone. The lights go out and Mikael Black appears. In the ring, he shoots Black Mist in Dante's face and hits a spinning heel kick. Lights go back on again. When they come back on, Black is alone in the ring. Black grabs the mic and says the House of Black accepts. A little bit too goofy for me. Ricky Starks is in the ring with the FTW Championship. He said that this is the same FTW title that was built in South Philadelphia. He's champion because he has the same mindset as Taz and the same mindset that Taz once had. Starks is going to challenge Cage to a Philly street fight, but it isn't going to happen. Cage's music he plays and he runs out, attacks Starks, and Powerhouse Hobbs and Hook run out to pull Starks out of the ring, at least for the save for now. Roster members, including Thunder Rosa, Sky Blue, Ruby Soho, and Jade Cargill, talked about the TBS Championship. Cargill said she'd win the tournament. If Shida wins, this would be her 50th AEW victory. They do have a mini trophy for this. Serena Deeb defeats Haku Rashida. Chain wrestling early to start. They wrestled to a decent stalemate. Shida wants a handshake, but Deeb slaps her. Shida attacks her in the corner, hits a running knee, and Shida then goes with the chair attack, but Deeb pops up and folds the chair, and Deeb catches Shida upon re-entry to the ring, hits a neck breaker over the ropes. Show cuts to commercial. Upon return, Shida uses a front face lock to achieve an airplane spin, follows up with a missile drop kick for near fall. Deeb then counters into an octopus hold and goes for the Deeb talks, but Shida fights out and Deeb locks on the Gato clutch for near fall. Shida then comes back with a big knee strike to the face. Deeb then chops into Shida's knee and hits a dragon screw over the ropes, follows up with a swinging neck breaker for a 2 count. Shida then comes back with another knee strike and avoids a chop block and hits an inverted power slam for a 2 count. Running elbow is followed next by a Falcon Arrow for a good near fall. And then Shida lays in repeated knees. Deeb catches her and rakes her eyes, follows up with the inverted dragon screw. Deeb hits the Deeb Tox for near fall, locks on the Serenity locks, and forces Shida to tap out. Post-match, Deeb grabs the 50 victories trophy and breaks it over Shida's head. I actually like this angle, probably the best match of the night from a wrestling perspective. Darby Allin's informed that MJF challenged him to a match next week. Allin accepts, and Pinnacle limousine rolls up as Allin prepares to fight, but he's blindsided by a chair from Shawn Spears. Pinnacle's all dressed in dark gear. They send Allin into a couple of railings before Wardlow drops Allin's over with an F10, and MJF chokes Allin with a skateboard. Rampage on 10-8. Punk versus Garcia. Lucha Brothers versus the Acclaimed for the Tag Team Championship. FTW Championship, Starks and Cage at a Philly Street Fight. And Cargill versus Sky Blue. Leo Rush addressed Dante Martin. He says he's a huge fan, but Leo's the man of the hour. And LBO, Leo, he says that Dante is undervalued commodity and he wants to take him over the heights. Leo offers guidance ahead of Dante's match with Mikael Black. Not sure where that's going. Anyway, Britt Baker, Rebel, and Jamie Hayter are interviewed by Shivani about the TBS Championship. Baker's excited because now everyone can stop obsessing over her position at the top. She'll be watching the tournament. Winner of this match becomes the number 1 contender for the World Championship. 2 entrants start, and entrants join the match every 2 minutes. Poker chip can be grabbed at any time. Hangman Page wins the casino ladder match to become the number 1 contender for the championship. Not a fan of this ladder match stuff because it's just spots for the sake of spots. Participants are Moxley, Archer, Pac, Andrade, Orange Cassidy, Matt Hardy, and a returning Hangman Page. Cassidy and Pac are the first 2 in. Pac uses power and also amateur wrestling. He doesn't get involved with Orange's general stick. Orange rolls to the floor and tries to hit Pac and bait him back into the ring. Pac crushes him with a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker and then brings a ladder into the ring. He blocks a tornado DDT from Cassidy and flattens him with a brainbuster. Andrade is in third. He tries to bring the ladder in, but Pac drop kicks the ladder into Andrade's face. Pac then sets up the ladder and climbs, but Andrade springboards it into and meets Pac at the top. Andrade then hits a sunset flip powerbomb onto the ladder and onto the canvas. Orange then re-enters and gets his hands in his pocket, kicks in. Andrade stretches him and nails him also with a pretty stiff right hand for his trouble. Matt Hardy's in fourth. Orange goes for the orange punch, but Hardy hits the side effect ahead of the comeback and ahead of the commercial. Lance Archer makes his entrance, kills everyone. Anyway, once back in, Archer sets up a ladder. John Moxley enters the match. Archer meets him halfway in the crowd. Moxley tosses a chair at Archer, and they bring the fight back to the ring. Archer returns, fire with a chair. Toss of his own. Orange then hits 2 orange punches on Archer in the ring, but Moxley stops him from climbing the ladder. Moxley drop kicks the ladder with Archer on it. Hangman Page returns from a 3-month absence as the Joker in the match. He and Moxley trade forearms, and the fans are chanting for him. Page catches a dive from Cassidy and slams him into the ladder. He lands a plancha on Hardy on the floor. Pac finally stops Page, and then they go for ladder spots and table spots. Pac rolls Page into the table and climbs on the ladder. Andrade gets involved, and he and Pac fight. Pac headbutts Andrade off the ladder onto a ladder bridge. Paige pops up and meets Pac on top of the ladder. Hit a Deadeye from the top of the ladder through a table. Dangerous, pointless, and ouch. Anyway, Moxley surprises Paige with a paradigm shift. He and Orange climb the ladder. Hardy comes in and pushes them both over. Hardy rolls Orange onto the ladder and hits a leg drop through a table and Orange onto the floor. Archer then takes out Moxley and readjusts the ladder, but it is leveled with a buckshot lariat from Paige. Moxley stops Paige's ascent with a chair shot and then reaches the top. Paige lands right hand on Moxley and he collapses to the match. And Paige pulls down the poker chip and wins the number one contendership. I really hope that Paige wins the championship. I'm not expecting it, but I hope it anyway. Because it would kill the payoff of a long storyline. Anyway, we'll be back with more right after this.